Hey there guys, so in this video we're going to be going over the top 6 in the tech class. The tech class is a very interesting one. It's always kind of been one of the weaker classes in the game, but it has arguably the best champion in the game at the same time, so it's kind of been weird like that. Recently it's been getting a little bit better, and as I've always kind of done with this video, I just kind of want to go over like what the tech class is kind of for. Tech class is meant for just like broad ranging utility, but they've more been focused on power drain, heal block, and shocks recently. They also have a fair bit of like incinerate and stuff, but right, like they even have the nodes for shock. You have Nebula, Hulkbuster, champions like that. So they have a lot of shock damage, a lot of heal block, power drain. Kabam thinks they have power drain because of the Cav EQ node that like focuses on power drain, but I never feel like they've had the most power drain personally. But it is something that they do have a bit of, like some minor power control type champions. Not the best ones, but they are there. And also, I just want to go over something like really quickly. On a couple of the last videos, I keep on getting asked why there's the different champions that are clearly in the wrong class. Because this is the top 6, then a break, and then the champions that I'm like just honorably mentioning. Not necessarily that they are like NIMROD's not the 7th best tech, but he's just someone I wanted to talk about at the end. So I put that there as a reminder, and I put that there as like a break in the list. And like right, they're all in a different class. That's why like Symbiote Spider-Man is up in the skill when all the other ones are skill. So I just use them as just like a break in the list. And with that, let's just get right into the actual list part. So obviously, I think you guys could tell who was going to be number 1 this whole time. It's got to be Ghost. Ghost is just right now the best champion in the game. And you couldn't tell I love her a little bit. I gave her my generic awakening gem from the Abyss. Her awakened ability isn't required to play her or to rank 3 her or anything. It helps a lot. She's the best champion in the game for a reason, so I don't think there's not a reason to awaken her and to like, you know, play her awakened. There's no reason not to. And when Kabam made her, I don't think they were trying to make the best champion in the game. Her kit has a lot to it, right, with like phasing off all damaging debuffs. You phase so you don't have to take any damage. But I don't think they were expecting players to be able to play her in the way that we do and figure her out and like have the actual ability to play like this, because there's no way they would have released a champion like this if they had known. I don't know if Kabam has ever said anything about it, but just I don't think there's any real way or reason that like they would have intentionally released a champion this strong, right? The SP2, when it crit, when you get all 3 hits to crit when you phase back, with or without Wasp, is so good. The amount of damage it pumps out, even without suicides, my rank 3 does like 40,000 damage or something on a single special 2 with only 1 cruelty. The cruelties are massive and they stack 10 times if you throw the special 3. You have the ability to always crit, and this is actually something people don't talk about or use with Ghost, is the ability to never crit by never hitting with her phase. It's a really niche utility to use, but you technically could to use her as a non-crit champion. And like just everything about her is so good. They've been so hesitant to give her synergies at this point. She basically, I still think, has 4 or maybe 5 now. All 3 of her base synergies are busted. 15% for every buff. It's pretty easy to get and keep 7 buffs. The ability to go unblockable when you throw it while phasing, which is also how you get a guaranteed crit on all 3 parts of your special. Busted, you know, just break block. Who cares if they're blocking? Hood synergy, one of the best synergies in the game. Take no damage from anything. SP3, passive degen, none of it matters. Use Ghost and laugh at the game. Literally, use a tech boost, laugh at the game. If you haven't seen her in war with like suicides full boosts, it's disgusting. Like, Ghost is the best champion in the game. So, second is a champion who is also very good, but I have a personal grudge against, but I can't let that like get in my way of how I think of him, because he's evaded me as a 5 and a 6 star since his release, which is just a bit wild. Which is obviously going to be Mr. Warlock himself. An insane champion, very, very good. Everyone knows about how good he is, I feel like, right? With the heal block and everything. The amount that he has done for people's accounts through EQ, questing, AQ, AW is honestly his best place to play him because of willpower and the way the health pools work. Using him with a tech boost is absolutely insane. He's quad immune. He has the armor up buff, which makes it so he's immune to crits. Yeah, just always immune to crits unless he doesn't have the armor. He has the techno-organic virus, which is pretty easy to get on with parrying. He has the degen on power drain, which you power drain when they're heal blocked, which is from the techno-organic virus, which is very easy to keep on. The minus 30% ability accuracy used to be bugged to give both, but even just having offensive ability accuracy reduction is nice. He has pretty decent block. He has that very thick bleed on heavy, right? It's a pretty decent sized bleed. He has power drain and shock on SP1. He has the armor breaks in his main damage source on special 2. He can heal and have a pretty decent sized power burn on the SP3. Warlock is kind of like one of those, he's the champion that kind of just made the utility knife, like the utility Swiss Army knife, so good. You have the robot uprising synergy, which is amazing. It allows any champion in the game when they're immune to get a fury. So it allows all these champions like robots and stuff to take that Mr. Sinister in 6.2. And it doesn't only apply to robots like some synergies would, where it's like, oh, it's only these 4 champions. If you read it, it's for any champion that is immune. I don't know if they changed that, but they shouldn't have. It works for like any champion. He has some other decent synergies, but that's the one that like everyone uses, that and Magic's one. Which the robot uprising is such a good synergy if you need like a caustic temper robot or something, because not many robots have furies, but there's so many ways you can use this to like cheese out fights and get just insane damage output, because a 60% fury is not very small, like, right? That's a pretty sizable fury. So Warlock is obviously just a super good champion. The kit is super simple to use. You don't have to try for anything special when you're playing with him. Third is, I think this is the right spot to put her, is Penny Parker. I really want to rank 3 her very soon. She's a super cool champion. She's very fun. She has her block proficiency, which I'll show in just a second here, but her abilities. You have the sync shield, which absorbs all the damage you take. It can power drain them, and it gives you a power gain effect, kind of like Night Thrasher when you dex and you're below a single bar of power, but all the way up. You get those spider sense charges, which you can auto block. You can even auto block a heavy attack. You build the sense charges, and you launch massive special 2s. Her special 2s nuke. Even as this rank 1, I was like killing stuff in the side quests this month with it super easily. Her block proficiency by itself is kind of low, but she makes up for it with the sync shield absorbing the damage and trying to turn that into kind of a strength. And the sync shield doesn't even like go on cooldown that long. Her Falcon synergy is really nice. It basically makes him a duped Falcon. She has some other like decent synergies. I'm not like, right, that one, the extra attack and armor. Extra attack is always nice, right? Her kit, it's not like the most complicated, it's not the biggest, but she has so much, especially her dupe. I didn't mention it, but her dupe is very nice. Cheesing Nick Fury, heal blocks, degen. It's a really nice dupe. It's basically Warlock. So next up is gonna be Guardian. And some people don't like Guardian too much. I have to go over to my 5 stars here because I want to show off like the SIG, and I have a SIG 200 5-star. Some people don't quite like Guardian because of his style, but look at that SIG. 2500 block, 8400 energy resistance, 80% bleed resist, words are hard, a lot of critical damage resistance. The bleed resistance is almost mags and Omega Red levels. The energy resist is one of the highest in the game for a ability based energy resistance, and the block is almost another. The block is basically what a good champion's block proficiency would be considered, is just about where it is from what I can remember. It makes him take like such little block damage, because I should just show his block proficiency really quick. It's not like the highest in the game, but it's a very solid block, right? So when you put those two together, it gives him like a 90% block proficiency or something, I think. So it makes him take like 20 damage on a block. He's an absolute utility monster at max sig with his armor up. He can't land critical hits, but he does deal shock damage instead of that to keep his damage high. So in shock immune matchups, he loses a bit of damage, or a lot of damage. But the ability to never crit is nice. If you try to lower his ability accuracy, you get a sizable shock on them, or if you're fighting him in defense, do not try to lower it for long. In war, it can really kill you. The armor up is pretty thick, so again, you take even less damage. It returns, and while you have it up, you can, if you parry a special attack from the opponent, it's a perfect block and it gives you power as long as it's a projectile. The force fields, everyone knows his force fields, allows you to auto block specials. You can block unblockable specials against mutants. I'm not sure if that part is bugged. It was for a while where you could block like other hits and stuff, and from non-mutants and basic attacks, it was kind of wild. And then, yeah, they stack up to 3, so it's a bit annoying. The 4 flight attack isn't something you use often, but it's nice to be able to drain 40% or 20% of their current power. If they're up at max power, 20% is quite a sizable chunk, right? It's a decent power drain. The heavy attack gives you an extra armor up, but you sacrifice a force field. That's mainly used if you need to maintain your utility while throwing an SP2, because the SP2 consumes it. So if you're trying to fight a Havoc, you need to throw a heavy and chain that into the SP2, or else you're going to suicide. The special 1 is for like shorter fights. It gives you that the 3 force field charges, but right, you can't stack them past 3 or else they're on a timer. So if you're in a shorter fight, you SP1 maybe even twice if you're lucky with like power gain and stuff, and then you throw that SP2. The SP3 is for the longer fights. You inflict that shock, it's a decent shock, and you get the 6 indefinite field charges, so they don't time out even if they're past 3. So right, you can stack Guardian up to like 100 force field charges and drop million damage SP2s if you really feel like it. It's not the most effective way to play him. 2 special 3s will basically guarantee like any fight in war. I think I took a buffet Havoc once with him, and it was like 2 SP3s was enough to kill Havoc off. So it's more than enough. His synergies are amazing. You have the perfect block one, which is great for the O Canada run and just anywhere else. It gives you a longer stun. It's a perfect block, obviously, so you take no damage on anyone. And then because it's perfect block, it lasts longer. Plus his self synergy scales with star, and it gives block for everyone, which is really nice. Next up is ULTRON. I'm not sure if I'm putting ULTRON too high on here, but he's been one of my most used champions over the past month or so, especially since AQ Map 8 came out. He's been on my team every single day for Map 8 AQ. Every single day. So I feel like that gives him like some merit to be on a list like this. He has a lot of utility without having to like try hard for it, right? You just kind of, you go in, you hit them, you bleed them, you have your armors, you have your regens, right? He has a lot without having to do too much, which is always very, very nice on a champion. So right, you're immune to bleed, poison, and slow, and his effects, which are what are they called? His functions cannot be affected by ability accuracy reduction, which is really nice. The slow immune, it doesn't have really a purpose in the game right now other than defense, but maybe soon it will have a place to shine where like you don't want to get a slow on you or something. The 50 and 25% heal is really nice, especially with recovery mastery. The 25% it brings you back over 50, so you're able to double heal in a fight and stuff if you really want to. It's really nice. The function critical is pretty nice. It's something to watch out for though. If like you can't have a guaranteed crit, every 5th hit is guaranteed critical. You can use that to like time it with your special attack 1, I believe. Yeah, because it's all attacks. Every 3rd hit will always inflict a bleed, so that's always really nice. And your bleeds turn into degens against mutants because mutants have a lot of bleed immunity, so that's always really nice to have. It even works against stuff like Mags and Omega Red. You have the armor up buff, so you can take stuff like Havoc and it just gives you extra survivability. The heavy attacks trigger a bleed per function triggered, and you can get up to like 7 functions, I think. So it can trigger a lot of bleeds, and all the bleeds add special attack damage. The bleeds themselves are very big, right? 1700 over 6 seconds is a pretty decent bleed, if we're being honest here, right? Like, it's not quite Nick Fury, but it's pretty good. When you launch a special attack, it gives you about 50%, or just under 50% of your attack rating into a cauterize. So it makes your specials hit hard. His specials have a stun, a bit of damage, and then a stun and a power burn. The SP3 is kind of nice, right? You can like push them up to 3 bars of power, throw it, you power drain them, you stun them, and then you can go back in instantly if you want to. So that's really nice with ULTRON. His rework was really, really solid. I wasn't too sure on it at first, but he's a very, very good buff. I use him so much, and if it wasn't for AQ, I would use the Hulkbuster synergy more, because his Hulkbuster synergy is really, really good. It gives him the cauterize ability on all of his specials, because like on the special 1 and special 3, it doesn't last past the actual special. And then he has the second part of the Robot's Uprising synergy for power gain instead of the Fury. Now the final spot in the top 6 is Guillotine 2099, Guillotine 2099, however you want to say it. She's another champ that just kind of evades me, so she's not like my favorite. Plus, she's a very stressful champ to play. You have to maintain your combo, you have to make sure you don't, get hit. You have to make sure that you track your specials compared to your damage and track it with your damage scaling up, because you're going to gain damage, you're going to gain all the damage from her up to 600 hit combo. But you need to end every fight in a special 3, so if there's power drain, annoying. If there's other stuff like that. But she has a lot of utility that makes up for it. Being immune, she has miss, she never crits, or she crits every 20th hit, which can be nice for some things, right? She can regen, that's always nice. The health steal, she has the power burn, which is very underutilized in war, I think. It allows you to never have to deal with a special 3 as long as you end with a medium. She has a very thick regen. She has a massive power drain on the special 1. Her special 2, because it has the heal reverse, obviously, but because of how many hits it has, it really amps up her damage. And the special 3 is just how you have to end every single fight, which is why a lot of people don't like her. Oh wait, I said Ultron had that synergy. What the heck? It's her. She has the 70% of a bar of power for Warlock. For Nebula, Warlock, Darkhawk, and herself, if they get a bleed or a poison effect, they get a 70% of a bar of power. So like with Warlock and Sentinel and stuff, this is super good. You can just get a bleed on you, and if you have the Warlock and the Gully synergy, you gain a Fury and you gain a bar power. It's just really fun. So next, I want to just go to some of the champions that I wanted to like quickly go over. Why am I showing my 5-star? I don't know. Some champions I just want to like quickly go over. They're not like the best champions, but they're some good champions. I'm sorry if the voiceover is a little bit off. I recorded this and I went back and like 90% of the audio was just gone. So I have to re-record this and I don't know exactly what's happening. So War Machine. War Machine's a champion I want to talk about really quickly. He's very cool. His pre-fights help the tech class a lot, but they're really awesome on him. His damage after you special 3 and you ramp him up and stuff has massive damage potential. I've seen some insane things with him for like Epoch solos and stuff. Nimrod. Nimrod's a champ I'm interested to see once he's like fully working and people have him and like use him. He should be a good mutant killer, but he hasn't really shown anything too much yet outside of like defense a little bit. But he's kind of cool. It's just Nimrod, it's kind of what it is. But Vision Age of Ultron, you have both Visions kind of in this spot, obviously, but I prefer Vision Age of Ultron because of his SIG. OG Vision is only better in like 2 instances in my opinion. So the power steal, I just prefer the power steal. It like if you special 2 to drain like all their power, you gain back like a bar and a half if you're max SIG, I think, which is just really useful. It's as simple as that for me. And then the next one is going to be, I believe, Silver Centurion, who when you get his plasmas going, he has some really solid damage. That's kind of it. He has some nice utility, slows and stuff, damage over time. It can be passives if you're duped. Just a very nice champion with a lot of base utility. He's a bit complicated to play though with staying close. Also, Howard the Duck himself, very good now after his buff, massive damage. I really like him, but I'll probably go with PENI over him if I'm being completely honest. Same with like Hulkbuster. Tech, as I said at the beginning, had that issue before, but they have a little bit more depth now. They're still a little bit top heavy after those first couple champions. Even those first like 6, 5 even maybe, it starts to get a little bit more mucky. So that'll be it for this video. This is one of my longer ranking videos. I don't know why. Maybe I just gushed over Ghost for too long or something. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll be seeing you soon. Keep an eye out for a second video today, maybe. Bye.